Hey everybody, Resident Loser Jeremy here, and today in the Opening a Studio series, we're going to be talking about can you do this if you're not a musician, or if you don't have a musical background. So the too long didn't read, I think yes. There you go. If you want to stop the video now, you can. See ya. Hit like, subscribe. To go on from there, yeah, I do think you can do this without being a musician, without being able to pick up an instrument and be able to play, to an extent. Because I know people who do this who are not musicians. It's a little bit of a different kind of barrier to entry for you. There are some key things that you can do if you are in that boat to kind of improve, to get to the point where this can be something you can do. And that's in the context of like working with bands. Are you really going to be a solo artist if you're not a musician? That's a little harder. I don't know how you could approach being like a solo artist without being a musician. That's a whole different question, I think. But if you're approaching this as I want to be an engineer, maybe a producer, not being able to play an instrument myself, can I do it? Yes, I think so. Let me explain. I'm a guitar player. I do play an instrument. I have a musical background. I went to school for music. I've played guitar most of my life. I started singing in school. I held a degree in musical performance. Some amount of musical performance has kind of been through my life for a very, very long time. So I'm no stranger to a musical background or musicianship in general. Now that said, there are aspects of the recording studio that I'm totally unfamiliar with. Like when I first started in the studio, I'm not a drummer. I didn't know the first thing about drums. I knew what some drummers who come into the studio, what they teach me, and I pick things up. Since then, I've kind of learned to be a quote-unquote drummer. I would not consider myself a drummer. If I need to hit a tom, I can do it. But I decided, even though I'm not a drummer, I'm going to learn how to tune a drum kit. And again, I think there are a whole lot of people who are better suited at teaching how to tune a kit than I am, but I knew I wanted to get decent at it. I know how to change a head. I'm confident in picking drum heads and what they're going to do to the kit. I'm confident in knowing a drum setup and wood type and what the combination of the drum and the room and the head and what type of stick you're going to be using, what those things will do to a sound. Am I good enough to move the drummer out of the way and play the whole thing for the whole session? Absolutely not. But the point is, I've familiarized myself with the instrument enough to know how to record it and know how to change certain things and how it's going to affect the sound, because at the heart of it, we're engineers. We have to know the sound of it. And in the context of recording a band or working with an artist or you're hiring musicians, the drummers are going to take care of most of the performance side of that themselves. Maybe there's some arranging that needs to happen, and that's going to come from musical taste, where you've hopefully built up a mental library of music that you can pull from to help you make production decisions and arrangement and otherwise. And in that context, you just need to familiarize yourself with kind of how drummers talk. I know if I want like a 4 on the floor, or they're hitting the kick every time they hit a snare, boom, 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 boom. I know how to describe what I want in that situation. Or if we're doing like a country track and you want a train beat that boom da boom da boom da boom da boom da boom da. Just being around other drummers, it's kind of funny how you can speak in fills. Like, I want the pat boom Debbie boom. Pat boom Debbie boom. This is gonna look really silly on video. To go even further down that road, I'm not a piano player. In no way am I a piano player, but I've familiarized myself with the different parts that pianos can play in popular music or modern music today. Listening to music can teach you a whole lot about communicating to players, a lot more than you would think. I know if I want something to pull back, or maybe we want some arpeggios here, give me octaves in the left hand where you're playing so you have that kind of big open sound. You at least know how to approach that. And maybe not all the ideas are going to be awesome because you're not a player of those instruments, but you know at least how to communicate to toss out ideas. And learning the anatomy of an instrument, like for me, that was drums, not knowing much about drums, just knowing how to fix a set that comes in maybe not in great repair, so that if you have to diagnose an issue, you can fix it. I keep extra snare wires around. I keep extra lugs around. I keep all sorts of things here, cymbal felts, all this stuff. So if something sounds weird, at least you can fix it. And if it's something big and you have the part to fix it, that's something that the band can pay for, or that they should pay for at least. Because you familiarized yourself with it, now you know how to fix it. Ultimately, it's going to make your recordings better. I can't play drums, but I can record a drummer. I can't play keyboard, but I can record a piano player. Obviously, I had an easier way into this because of my background with guitar and vocals. But even if you're not a musician, I think you definitely have a way in here. Your road's gonna be a little harder, it's gonna be a little longer, you're gonna have a lot more research to do, but it's possible. Familiarity with repairing instruments is huge, especially when it comes to guitars, because a lot of bands that don't have a lot of experience in the studio will come in with older strings, especially bass players are notorious for this. And depending on the references they give you, if it's a hyper modern sound, it's really, really hard to get that sound out of old strings. So even knowing how to change strings really well is huge in the studio. I mean, do not discount that fact. Don't discount the very, very small things that you can learn about an instrument. Maybe you can't play it, but you can change the strings on a bass. Maybe you can't play it, but you can change the strings on a guitar. Maybe you can't play it, but you can change heads on a drum set and tune it. Those things are enormous and can a lot of times get you ahead of those producers who are musicians who don't know how to do these things. Because yes, there are professional guitar players. I've encountered a few who cannot change their strings correct. Now, that's not a blanket statement for all players, of course. But anyway, guys, that's a quick one. It's a question I was getting from a lot of people, and I wanted to really quickly address it because, yes, if you're a music lover but not a musician, I think you can do this. Absolutely. Now, obviously, there's a point at which not being a musician and then not enjoying music, why would you even pick this as a career? However, if you love music, you love sound, you love how a song comes together, all the rest of this is kind of small details for you. Even though I have a music background and I am a musician, I'm rarely playing on the things that I'm recording. So take that as an example. Even though I have a vast experience of performing and playing, oftentimes on the records I'm working on, I'm not doing either of those things. Anyway, guys, this was a very unique question and set of circumstances that you really don't see a whole lot of people attack. And I don't ever want this to seem like an exclusive club. If you like music and you truly love music for what it is, this should be for everyone. As long as you go into it with the mindset that you're always going to constantly get better. And even though right now you don't know an instrument, if you start this, that should not be a barrier to entry for you. I started this not knowing a whole lot, and I've learned a whole lot, and you should go into it with that same mindset. Now, can you do this if you decide, because I don't know an instrument right now, I'm never going to learn an instrument ever? I don't think that's the correct mindset to go into this, and you're going to run into a lot of roadblocks down the road. There's going to be a big learning curve either way, and you're going to have to decide that you're going to tackle it. Anyway, guys, hope that sheds some light on some of this stuff. If you disagree with me or have another idea, please put it down in the comments. This is an open discussion, I think. Or if you've done this and you don't have a background as a musician, please comment below and tell me what your experience was like. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. I'm Resident Loser Jeremy. I'll see you in the next one.